Thank you so much for getting up early this morning and joining me here for, I'm not going to just show funny videos and sad videos, although I am going to show a bunch of videos. But I did want to show that, you know how people send you, and I'm stalling until you get this URL, the bit.ly teaching with YouTube. And that will get you more YouTube resources than you ever could dream of. Because I'm not going to be teaching you how to make your channel, how to save a playlist. I did all that on video. I flipped it for you. And so it's all on the channel. What I want to do is something that you don't always get to hear. It's, you know, when you see a video on Facebook and you're like, oh, I love that video. And then you email it to your mom, or you share it, or you see it on Twitter and you just have a chuckle and you move on. Or you see a great commercial and you go, boy, that has such a great, powerful message. Well, in this session, I want to talk about what to do with those videos. It is not the session where I'm going to show you about cumulus clouds videos and how to find them for your science lessons. No, because you can do that and just Google it or just YouTube it and you'll find them. This is different. This is about being moved by video in terms of text. I think of video as text all the time. In my classroom, I want kids to constantly be exercising this up here. And I always believe that when you come in every day, I'm going to push you, I'm going to challenge you, and this is going to hurt. It's sort of like making me go out and start running, okay? I'm not going to make you run the marathon, but every day we're going to do a few little sprints, and then we're going to take some jogs, and you're going to keep building up until you finally can reach your highest potential. But it's exhausting, all this running that you're doing. And I really want kids to get it in quick clips, and I want to practice it over and over and over again. And so I'm constantly working on comprehension in my classroom all the time. And I could be giving them blocks of text that they could be reading, that we could be reading together. And you know what happens when I'm reading out loud together? Some are really into it because, it's fun to read together in my class. I shouldn't say that they're sleeping. They're definitely not sleeping, but they could be. They probably are, I guess. But if I put on a 2-minute video and say, you watch this, there's a message in there, and at the end we're going to talk about what that message is. They're like, oh, I'm kind of reaching them in a place that they're used to. Because they were at home watching Minecraft, pulling all kinds of meaning from I don't know what, from the guy commentating him going through the game. But I want them to practice that in class. And I have these opportunities to do it very quickly. Now, am I practicing reading skills? No. Am I practicing comprehension skills? Oh, yes. And I then say, I want you to take that skill you just did with that video, and I want you to take that into your novel. Everyone go find your book and go read. And then let's come back and talk. Could you do it? Could you transfer that skill? I also welcome them with a video of the day. And so that dog under the chair, they will come and be there on time to see video of the day. You don't want to miss that. And it's such a nice way to start. I mean, I'm so sorry about the crying one beforehand, because that's not a nice way to start the day. But do you feel what that feels like when you start your day laughing? It brings the endorphins into your classroom. It brings this message that my classroom is a happy place to be, and we're going to be laughing today, and we're going to be goofing around a little bit. Every once in a while, I just have to I have a playlist of it's called Makes You Laugh. I'm like, oh my gosh, we've been working so hard, we need a Makes You Laugh video. Sometimes they'll ask for it. And so I'll just get random, just funny videos on there, like the dog talking or some cat video or babies. I can always win with those. So we're going to get right in. I'm going to give you a tour of the site, because I know sometimes your attention is all over the place on your website. And so I want to show you a little bit about this website. I've come to find that when I'm using YouTube, there's 4 things that I do with it. I'm either finding video, okay, you find your video, you playlist your video, you pair it, and you package it. That's the key to teaching it right there. Find it, playlist it, pair it, package it. That's easy, right? Now these walk you through that. I am not going to walk you through that in order today. Today's lesson is right here. I'm going to talk to you about lessons. But here's how to playlist. So on this section, if you want to learn about how to make playlists, it talks about my philosophy of playlists. Actually, I'll say a little bit. They're like my bookshelves. I love my bookshelves. But I want to be able to find my video immediately, and I want to be able to find it without searching for it in front of kids. Can you imagine if I was searching for, oh yeah, there was this great video I saw last night, and you search for it? You know what comes up on the YouTube, right? I am freaked out about searching for video in front of people. And so I make sure it is set up ahead of time on a playlist that I can access. Now here's a link to my channel. I think there's in multiple places. And I have playlists. I have over 100 playlists. I have hundreds of videos on those playlists. And you are welcome to them. And I know you're on my YouTube channel, I can tell. I set little traps in my class, little sound traps. If you're wondering, how do you maintain and manage? I have this trailer that plays the instant you hit the channel. Anyway, I'm just kidding. No offense. You can go to the channel. This tutorial, how to make a YouTube playlist, how to organize your channel. So it kind of goes through that. It's okay, I love it. I have classroom management even up here, don't I? So I have makes you move. Your kids, they need to get up and they need to move once in a while. And I always put the latest dance craze, what's on there. So I'm not going to go through all of those today. But, whatever's the newest dance phase, the whip and nay-nay, I haven't got it up yet, but that's the next one that needs to go up. And so the kids they'll get up and they'll move for that, even older kids. I have Read to Me, and this is a playlist. So instead of mommy's handing the kids the video, here, go watch, what is that song, Let It Go? Is that? I have teenage boys. We don't watch that movie. I don't even know what that movie. Thank God I don't know that movie, right? Because that song makes me crazy. Because I see them and the kids like, again, play the song again. I'm like, no, have Eric Carle read your child books. And this is a playlist, it's 40 minutes long, and moms, it can get you through the grocery store. Okay, you just put the kid on that, and it just plays one video after the other of the child being read to. And I love kids to be read to by their parents, but if the parents can't be reading to them, then what's the next best is to actually not be watching just garbage on here. This is my favorite playlist. It's called Makes You Think. And I have 89 videos on it. It's kind of like a dumping ground for me. This is where when I find a good video, and it makes me think, I put it here. These are my comprehension videos. And I think somehow, somewhere, someday, I'm going to use that video. So that strategery with the chair, I'm going to use that video in a lesson someday. It's just going to sit here, though, and I have it on like 3. It makes you laugh, it makes you think, it makes you do everything. It's the perfect video. I also have mentor video. So when I want my kids to do claymation and I have no idea how, I gather as many videos about claymation as I can, and I say, you guys, here's some videos, figure it out. Because I'll tell you, my 16-year-old, he just rebuilt his 73 Chevy, and I don't know how he did it, aside from just YouTube and his grandpa. It's unbelievable. I am so proud of him. Shipments would be coming into the house, like, what is happening? And he'd be out working on it. He's like, I figured it out on YouTube. And now he has a truck. He's at the car show today. He rebuilt the whole thing. Anyway, squirrel. I have issues. I'm being in my best behavior. So pairings, when I watch a good video, I think about what goes well with it. Like, that video reminds me of, I should do something with it. Have you ever watched a good video and you're like, I don't really know what to do with it? And where does it go from there? Do I just show a good video and they're like, all right, take out your math books? Oh, look on their face. They're like, No. Do they, the audible, no. So I put them all together. Okay, just one. Okay, I'll spare you. But you know what? I could go into the kindergarten classroom, and I'm a star for bringing that one. Especially when I'm teaching kids about brass instruments from this TED Ed lesson. If you're going to teach kids about something, show them that something. And it doesn't always have to be like, this is a trombone. No, have some fun. Let them laugh, let them giggle. And they just want to watch that over and over again. And maybe they want to play the trombone then, because that's so funny. I have so many on here. I'm just going to avoid them. And so I have a ton here, and this is the crying section. I'm not going there today yet. I'm not promising anything. And so you've got to think about that. As teachers, we are thinkers also. I am a student in my own classroom. I'm constantly thinking. I'm constantly thinking about making connections. Don't you want your students to make connections? So if I'm watching something, I'm like, I model it in front of the kids. I'm like, gosh, that's a great theme. I just read this article, or I just heard this podcast about this. You start connecting things and just put them together and, on a notepad. I always have my yellow notepads, either on my computer or in my backpack or somewhere. I've got, I got to put these together. I got to make a lesson of that someday. Actually, I call it, I got a hyperdocket. That's my new term. And that gets me to packaging. Packaging is really important because video is too good to keep to yourself. How many of you just show the video in the front of the room and then you're done? Now, I know you have to. I know there's all sorts of restrictions. And share some of what I have to share. Do a presentation on it. Move people with video and how powerful it is for learning. And maybe they'll unblock it for you. But I love to put the video in the hands of kids. I didn't say YouTube. I said video. And it's all about how you package it. So if you want to get video off of YouTube so they don't see the surrounding videos and they don't see the ones afterward, I package them on Google Slides. And when you put them on a slide, there's the video right there. It sits right there on your slide. No surrounding videos. It's very clean. It works really well. I could play this really fast. Kids can play it right from the slide deck. I gotta stop. Every second counts. And look, right next to it, there is a lesson. Click here to share your thinking about that video so you can get kids to collaborate. I put the video in the hands of the kids and say, what do you think? Now they can go to a Padlet and post their thinking. And this is so shallow. It was awesome. Oh, beginning of the year. We need to work on this because in my classroom, that is not an acceptable answer. And so we have to watch it again, and we'll practice again to express ourselves. Well, it really made me curious about going and visiting places in the world. That's the answer I'm looking for. And so I use this. That is my assessment right there. We need to build on how to express ourselves from comprehension. But look at that packaging right here. No, where do I turn my answer in? Here. I'm very blunt. And then progress through the slideshow. Look at the choice you give kids. Look at the control you put with kids with learning. Would you want to watch that video again and again and again? It's a minute long. Why not let them? I used to hate that when the teacher would show the slides or show the video and then it'd be over. And I'm like, again, like Teletubbies, right? Again. Because I did. That was like the best part of that show, too. I always want to see the video again because I'm going to pull something different from it the next time. And you know what? I worry when kids don't want to watch it again because they don't care, they're not interested, they're not engaged in it. So I teach them how to care about good video. Google Forms. I use this a lot with older students, or I use it with younger students. Look at how it packages beautifully right in the middle of a form. And you can watch the video. This was my Monday morning video. And if you've ever seen me present on about YouTube, this is my go-to. Okay, I have to turn it off because you know it's a Volkswagen commercial. I didn't, and we're not laughing, right? But I play that video every Monday morning, and I've told the story so many times, but I would say the same questions every time. What did you notice in the video? And finally, I've put it into a form. What makes you laugh out loud, and what do you notice about the video? And the kids would say, oh, the age progression. They would notice that, and they would, at first they're like, they didn't really notice anything. And then when you ask them to watch it again, they watch differently. If I were to play this again, you'd watch it differently. And you'd pick up something new every time. And finally, one week, this boy came in and said, I think we're watching these for you, not us. Secret's out. It's Monday morning. Coffee time. And so, yes, it did make us laugh and bring the endorphins in and all that good stuff. He says, no, just kidding. You know what I noticed? That I think laughter is like a thumbprint. Everyone has a unique one. Okay, he was 10. I was like, oh, that is the answer I'm looking for. That's the thinking, the depth, the complexity that you want to teach your kids to do. That is a 30-second video that we watched every Monday. Imagine if you can now transfer that thinking to your rest of your work. I package video on Thing Links. Look at that. Imagine kindergarten watching video this way. Do you think people would be happy? And you could play them right there. Isn't that so cute? I'm not going to play these, but it's just such a great way to be watching video and keeping them off YouTube. I'm going to get to this one. I'm not even sharing that yet. I also embed them in Google Sites. This is a Google site I'm presenting from today. I didn't want to be jumping around. Can you imagine if I was jumping around YouTube this morning? That would be frightening to me. It's because I came across a video, a bad one, in front of people. I will never get over it. I've been traumatized. All right, so getting started. Let's get started. The first thing, and this walks you through it, 5 steps, because you can find good video, but it's time to make a great lesson from it. And a great lesson, I mean a great hyperdoc from it. And I'm going to show you some of those today. Thank you. I love the cheers. And this is a really powerful video. Find a video that inspires you, moves you, causes you to pause and think. I watch all my video all the way through. This one's pretty long, and so I'm going to fast forward through a little bit. I want you to pay attention and think about, what does this video mean to you? What meaning do you pull from it? pause here, and I want you, if there's someone nearby, I want you to turn and talk about what meaning do you pull from this? Because everyone pulls a little different story themselves. Turn and talk. Go ahead. Okay, so come back to me. I'm so sorry to interrupt your conversations. In the classroom, that would have been a much longer conversation, and I'd be down on the floor with you, and I'd be sharing my stories as well, because sometimes it's childhood memories for you. Sometimes it's an adage, kids these days, we don't see that a lot or play like that a lot. And so some of them, it sparks ideas. But I would love to continue the video and see. I want you to pay attention now to see if your thinking changes. So watch carefully. Okay, are we crying over a box? Wow. Okay, so turn and talk as the meaning changed for you of this video. And do you see a different meaning now in this video? Turn and talk, I'll just take a second. Okay, come back to me. Thank you. Thank you. And again, I told you, I started number one, find a video that inspires you, moves you, causes you to pause and think. And it's a long video and it's worth it because there's a kapow at the end. And there's a range of emotions in that video. And it just hits you at the end that the box is the metaphor. And and it's could it be really powerful way about teaching about loss, and how to cope with that. Sorry, it's emotional, right? YouTube videos that cause you emotion, it's incredible. And isn't that powerful? Isn't that what we want kids to feel? How did the author do that? How did the author craft that story? What was it? At what point, for your advanced writers, did the author, what did it? For me, it was the music. When the music stopped, and when he ran up the hill, and then the screen went black. And then it hit me. I went, oh my God, it's not about a box. And for some, it might still be about a box, and that's okay. And so for, people are like, oh, that's great for lower ages. No, this is great for everybody. All kids like to see videos like that. All right, so great. You found a great video. What do you do with it? I actually did build this for lower grades, and we don't get into the heavy stuff of that one. They wouldn't totally get it. They're like, oh, the box is gone. Okay, good. That's all. But it reminded me of the book Nothing to Do, and by Douglas Wood. And I actually had done a lesson a long time ago, a flipped lesson about nothing to do. And so I had put it together. This is a hyperdoc right here. You got to think about how you're going to package it, where you're going to put that video. And while I show that video together in class, because it's all about, did you notice? It was about where did I pause the video and what prompt did I give you? And what did you have to do? What kind of thinking did you have to do? You actually participated today. It was great. You actually had to do some cognitive thinking strategies to go along with it. And so I like to put the video here as well. A lot of people like to go back and see that one more time later when they're doing the activity now. So did you ever have one of those days where you have nothing to do? I wanted the kids to focus on that part because it was really age appropriate for the grade I was building this lesson for. So on the left side I have their resource, on the right side I have their task that they were supposed to do. And as you scroll through, I gave them their next step was their inspiration, and I wanted to hear their plan. Well, this video reminded me of other clever kids like Audrey's Rube Goldberg machine. Yes, and his cleverness of being able to build something out of nothing. And Kane's Arcade, doesn't this sound like Kane's Arcade, right? And being able to build something out of nothing. And then Kevin Doe, aka DJ Focus. This boy literally builds radios out of nothing. And to inspire kids, show them videos of this, and then ask them. Don't tell them, and then here's the syllabus step by step of what you're going to do. Ask them, what's your plan? What do you plan to do after watching these? When was the last time you've asked a kid that in school? They'll be like, I don't know, you're supposed to tell me, you're the teacher. No, try to get kids to think about it. Now, are you going to do all their plans? Maybe not. Are some of their plans going to grow into maybe a class project? Maybe. Could it grow into 20-time projects? Maybe. Could it be something that they just go home and try? For sure. I want their learning to be inspired and to inspire from one little video. Again, it goes into how are you going to present to your class. Do you want to hand out this hyperdoc digitally through shortened URLs or through Classroom, of course, or Doctopus? So that is a lesson. I'm going to get into some more of those. That was just the first one. The rest of them, well, there's one other that's a little moving, but I don't think we'll cry. I promise. I'm going to lighten it up because I did this lesson with a third grade class, but I challenge you to do it with older kids.
Eye bombing is putting googly eyes on objects in the public space. And the goal is simple. It's just to bring more chuckles, laughs, and smiles into the world.
When you're standing on the streets with your pockets full of eyes, then your head starts seeing faces everywhere. Just by simply adding 2 googly eyes on a trash can, then it becomes a grumpy old man, or a street sign suddenly becomes a foxy lady.
Once you start looking, you'll actually see faces everywhere, like here, and here you'll see. And what about here? We have a couple of rules. It has to be in the public space. You can't use stickers or paints or other types of graffiti-like tools because it's very important for us that you could remove it again.
This is a good spot. Yeah.
Some people stick googly eyes on pictures of people.
I get a smile on my lips when I see it, okay. So that's if you have a bad day and you see this and you got a little laugh. The eyes.
Oh.
I think it's a very funny idea, especially when it's rain, because it's so depressing.
Could you be an eye bomber?
Yeah, it would be fun. Just an afternoon or something.
There you go. It's better than graffiti.
Okay.
Much better.
You want me to smile when I look at that?
Yes.
Yes.
So, how fun, right? A little bit more fun. So, you know how badly I want to give you all googly eyes right now? But I don't think the convention center would appreciate that, so I didn't. But I did give them to a class of third graders, a lot of them. And I made a hyperdoc activity. Now, I packaged this hyperdoc, and I keep mentioning hyperdocs. They are digital lessons that are packaged. Give all the instructions. I'll say, I show the video, and here you go. So they had to go through. I put the video one more time if they wanted to watch it. And then it has the instructions, what to do. They were to carefully place them, has to be in a public space, no stickers, create a face. And then we were teaching kids about how to take good photos in class. And so that was their job. They had to share devices, and they had to take a photo of where they placed their googly eyes. And then they were going to tell their story. And so their job was perspective writing. And they were going to tell the story of, from the perspective of the face that they created. Then we did a little reflection. These are all actual images of the third grade classes eye bombing. This was the teacher's water bottle they eye bombed. And I really wanted them, and I think sometimes we go through a lesson and we're like, okay, we did the lesson. That was fun. That was nice. But really the gist of this lesson is, what effect is eye bombing having on those around the school? So you know what that caused the kids to do? Observe people. Like, look at people. Watch people. So they would sit there, and I'm all, you can't just stand there and be like, look at my eye bomb. You know, that's what they were trying to do. Well, no, just kind of wander around and notice if people are talking about it. Be little spies out there. And it was really incredible for them to be watching patterns of kids and actually looking up and noticing something other than their snack or who's got the red ball. You know, the third grade, that's what's important. This was also really key to me. Do you have another way to put a smile on people around? Put a smile on the people around you. I wanted kids to think about that. Can we create something like eye bombing? Can we put a little joy into our classroom? Can we put a little joy into our school? What can we do? How can we add a little kindness? They're little simple things that you can do. It's pretty clever. But back to writing, because we have standards to cover. Everyone's like, you're always playing. No, we are really learning. Look at what these kids created. Sophie the Sink, through my eyes. I mean, these stories are priceless, not to mention the photography was incredible. We had no idea they would be so good at this. Look at that one. Isn't that a great picture? They were too funny, the hand dispenser. And the stories are so darling. They're really cute. This was, I mean, I'm not going to get into the reading about the stories, but what an incredible opportunity to have a multi-layered lesson that has some depth and complexity that started off with something silly like eye bombing. So there's my first one. And the lesson's there for you. Now, I want to share this next one. I'm really passionate about talking about place with my students. I come from, I teach and work in Pleasanton, California, on the East Bay. And I always am thinking the kids are, you know, my own children, we were raised there, and we're kind of in a bubble. You know, they don't have a perspective of what the world is like out there. They love to play soccer. And we started to talk about place, and I was really shocked and amazed at what their lack of understanding sometimes about place. And so I played this for them. I also have to tell you that when when I really want the kids to pay attention, I put on a video with subtitles. And even the kids who can't read, I say, you can make sense out of this video.
กลับไปที่วันแรกที่นี่ชาวบ้านชอบดูฟุตบอลกันมากแต่ไม่มีใครเคยเล่นหรอกก็อย่างที่เห็นเรากินนอนอยู่บนน้ำมาแต่ไหนแต่ไรแล้วเพราะที่นี่ไม่มีบนดินสักนิดกีฬาอย่างเดียวที่เล่นกันได้คือแข่งเรือไม่ก็โม้กันเรื่องปลาที่จับได้วันนั้นแหละความคิดเล็กๆก็เกิดขึ้นพวกเราคิดตั้งทีมฟุตบอลขึ้นมาแต่ชาวบ้านก็คิดว่าพวกเราบ้า
เด็กพวกนี้ส่งเสียงอะไรกันปาเปิ้ลหีหมดแล้ว
เราตั้งทีมบอลเราจะเป็นแชมป์โลก
มีแต่ทะเลกันพี่กับทีมตกหมึก
จริงอย่างที่แกพูดพวกเราไม่มีแม้แต่ที่ให้เล่นฟุตบอลพอเราจัดทีมกันเสร็จปัญหาต่อมาก็คือเราจะเตะกันที่ไหนล่ะที่นี่มีแต่ทางเดินแคบๆแล้วเราก็มีความคิดว่าเราต้องสร้างพื้นที่ของเราเองเรารวบรวมเศษไม้เก่าๆผูกเข้ากับแพปลาทำอย่างนี้ทุกวันหลังเลิกเรียนแล้วเราก็สร้างสนามของเราขึ้นมา
Now this is another long video, and I really could go, there's so many lessons in this video. If you're doing growth mindset, I mean, these kids, look at what they've created out of nothing. And my students are like, well, my mom was late picking me up at the sports park. And I'm like, for my soccer practice. Oh, guys. Well, I was talking to one of my brilliant friends, Joanne Fox, and we were talking about creating hyperdocs. And she said, you know, you do a lot of video. Wouldn't it be great if you created hyperdocs on maps? Like, why aren't you creating hyperdocs on a Google map? And my brain just went like right at that moment. And that's exactly what she inspired me to do. And so I took that video and I put it on a map. Because a lot of times kids are watching good video and they think that it's a movie. It's a movie. And so I'm like, okay, you guys, you know that video that I was just showing you? And you saw the beautiful, like they're not even living on land, they're living attached to the rock. And here it is, it's near Phuket. And I'm going fast because I don't want to give you a full geography lesson, but this took way longer. And as I'm zooming in, they're like, this is a real story? And I said, oh yes, that's a real story. And it's a true story. And it takes place on this island. And as they get closer, you should have seen their faces. And they said, oh my gosh, that's a real place. You guys, yes. Okay, so just because it's a video doesn't mean they weren't filming in a real place in the world. So we can pin our videos in the actual place that they take place. With Google Maps, you can place that video right there in the actual place. And you can put text and put your lesson right below it. What is your expectation after watching this? Make the difference to their own world. It doesn't have to be big. It could be little, create positive changes. Now I could put more of an assignment on here, but at this point, I want to they made sure that I put this, and I'll keep zooming in. I had it on the rock, and they're like, no, you need to find the soccer field. And sure enough, there it is. They have 2 now, because those kids went on to be like champions. And then an amazing thing happened. Instead of going, oh, the video's over, take out your math books. They went, oh my gosh, there's restaurants there. Because Google Maps, look, there's a seafood place we could go tonight. And then they're like, oh, click on the camera, I want to see more about this place. Oh, wait, keep going. I'm like, oh, what, are you curious? Because you know what? Isn't that what we want? Don't we want to inspire curiosity? Are you giving your students the opportunity to be curious? Are you making your curriculum full of curiosities, something that they will wonder? Because I'll tell you something, geography in the textbook, I'm not very curious about. I mean, I do love paper maps, but I have to admit. But imagine if I said, all right, guys, there's one. I only want you to do one pin tonight or today. I don't give this for homework. I only want you to look at one pin. Do you think that would happen? No, because look at all over the place. They're like, I'm going to look at all of them. And it's amazing what you can put. I have pins for my stories all over the place. And so you can pin your videos with the assignments. This one actually, I thought it was this one, has a link that takes you to another personalized Google map where they can then put their own information about their happy place in the world. So the maps that leapfrog from one to another. Now, this map lesson brought about, and I'm getting a little older. Do you see I'm getting a little older with my videos? And if you're into project-based learning, this is one of my favorite videos to introduce project-based learning with, and I want you to think about why as you watch.
It was one of my friends who encountered this community of seaweed farmers in a mangrove area 500 miles south of Manila, where children were basically swimming when they were going to school. That story really touched me. So I updated my Facebook status, and one of my friends challenged me. It made me think we should do something about it. So we started a mini fundraising campaign, and we raised enough money to buy them a boat. But one thing that we didn't realize, in the afternoon when it's low tide, a boat is kind of useless. You can't just give whatever you think they need. You have to really find out what their needs are. So it's really a learning process, and it's becoming sort of a relationship. Social media is helping us connect with places that face challenges that we've never even heard of. Now we're looking at a holistic way on how to help them. By helping the high school graduates secure some scholarships from the State College of Marine Science and Technology to get out of poverty and improve the quality of life in the community. By building them a boat, we've never realized that they would create a ripple effect to understand each other and build a relationship with them.
Do you see how that could be a really valuable video to show when you're starting a project? I think there's so much meaning to pull from that we're going to come in and I'm going to save you with the yellow boat. And it's a great way to look at it and to really pull deep meaning from your older students. Younger students can as well, but I think it's a really powerful video that we're going to come rescue you. Maybe we should think about what that word means and what our outcomes actually need to look like for that. I do not have that hyperdoct. That would be a great one. Sometimes I just want to use a video to intro something. there's high school teachers in the room. I think this is one of the most powerful videos you can share, and I have a lesson. I saw this video from a good friend, Chris Bell. He was speaking, and he shared this video, and I thought, I have to make a lesson from this video. Have to. It's one of those. And so it reminded me of something, and I'll tell you at the end.
What do you desire? What makes you itch? What sort of a situation would you like? So I always ask the question, what would you like to do if money were no object? How would you really enjoy spending your life? Well, it's so amazing. As a result of our kind of educational system, crowds of students say, well, we'd like to be painters, we'd like to be poets, we'd like to be writers, but as everybody knows, you can't earn any money that way. Or another person says, well, I'd like to live an out-of-doors life and ride horses. I say, do you want to teach in a riding school? Let's go through with it. What do you want to do? When we finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that. And forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. And after all, if you do really like what you're doing, it doesn't matter what it is, you can eventually turn it, you could eventually become a master of it. It's the only way to become a master of something, to be really with it. And then you'll be able to get a good fee for whatever it is. So don't worry too much. Somebody's interested in everything. And anything you can be interested in, you'll find others will. But it's absolutely stupid to spend your time doing things you don't like in order to go on spending things you don't like, doing things you don't like, and to teach your children to follow in the same track. See, what we're doing is we're bringing up children and educating them to live the same sort of lives we're living, in order that they may justify themselves and find satisfaction in life by bringing up their children, to bring up their children to do the same thing. It never gets there. And so, therefore, it's so important to consider this question. What do I desire?
So my son is a second semester senior. Oh, boy, it's fun keeping him at class. And I really want his teachers to ask him this, because, coming from me, he doesn't listen to anything I say. Well, he does kind of, but, And I think this is a really powerful question. Are you asking your students this? Are they asked this? And so we hyperdoced it, and we made a lesson out of it. Because every time I was watching this, it kept reminding me of the Holstee Manifesto. Have you heard of the Holstee Manifesto? If I show it to you, you might recognize it. This is, I'll get to it in a second, but we talk about a manifesto. It's like, what's your mantra for life? What would you shout out from the top of the, what do you believe in the most? Who are you? What do you desire? It's your manifesto. So we wanted to define that. I did this with a high school teacher. And again, here's Be Inspired. There's the video there. They watched it as a class. They processed it. There's other ones like it. Everybody's free to wear sunscreen. There's other videos that have that same kind of a mantra. And then there's the Holstee Manifesto. I don't know. Here's the article right here. And you might recognize it. This is the Holstee Manifesto. Have you seen these? I mean, they're on greeting cards. They're on posters. This is your life, and do what you love and do it often. If you don't like something, change it. And I don't want to tell everyone to quit their jobs. That's not my goal. I know we have to work, but isn't it really great to be doing something that you love to do? And don't you want that for your children? Isn't that what we say when they graduate? I want you to do something you love to do. I don't tell my child graduating, I want you to get a 9-to-5 job that is a grind that you hate getting up every morning for, okay? Have a good life. I'm spending the inheritance. No, I want them to be passionate in life and do that. But are we inspiring them? Are we putting that in their head and making them think about that? Now, the high school kids, they get this manifesto. Do you recognize that one? Yeah, because this is the shopping bag they want from this store that is unbelievably expensive. So costly. But they just want the bag, I think. I'm like, can I have a headband when I go in a bag? So we made this lesson, and we taught the kids to make their own manifesto. Because I thought, isn't that cool to make one of those collage like that of the things that they believe in? And so from there, we asked them to not only create them, but to post them together collaboratively on a digital slide deck. I want to share some of these that they've come up with, and you can go through these and look at them. These were so powerful. They shared these at the beginning of the school year, and this was one of the students created this on his own. There were no instructions on how to do this. Everyone's looked different. They were unbelievable. The hardest part of this assignment for them was posting it on the slide deck and putting themselves out there. They were really scared to do that. It was hard. It was hard. They also had to justify why they did it, which was really an amazing thing. The teacher said for the rest of the year that these kids, she's never had such a bonded group of kids from the get-go. They knew each other. They were connected. They were a community. And this was a beginning of the year activity. Now, you all have listened to so much today. I appreciate your brain stretching. I hope that you walk away with tons of resources. I have so many here for you. And have a great rest of the day. We're going to be talking... Oh, thank you.